Hey folks, Robert Craven from Mega Food. I'm here today with Rob Sinclair from Conscious Brands up in our great neighbors to the north. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing fantastic. I put away the dog sled and we are ready for summer.
Perfect. That's awesome. You get your 3 months. You got to really take advantage of that. I'm sure.
Yeah, you gotta trap your game while the ice is broken up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love Canada. I mean, every time I'm up there, just the people are amazing, and the commitment to health and wellness is obvious. So let's dive right in. Conscious Brands. Tell us about your background. Conscious Brands. What is it you guys do?
Yeah, Conscious Brands is a boutique sustainability firm with the core purpose of activating sustainability. And our mission is to help 1,000 brands transition or further thrive in the new economy by 2020. And we govern ourselves by two core purposes. One is if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together.
Hmm.
And then the other one is how you do anything is how you do everything. So we're really playing around in this new economy space and seeing what it means to have a business or a group of businesses that are stakeholder orientated. So not just maximizing shareholder return, but looking at all stakeholders, whether that be customers, community, environment, or society, in all their business decisions. So we work with a gamut of natural foods companies all across North America, manufacturing, retailing, distribution. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun playing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let's dive deep. I think that the retailers, as you know, combat mass slippage is all about really helping the retailer, the natural retailer in particular, is on the front lines of health and wellness, compete. We want that market to be healthy. And obviously, a lot of the retailers go deep and have a deep love and passion for things like sustainability. So the broadest question I'll ask, I think, is how might a retailer be thinking about sustainability and how they integrate it into what they do day in and day out?
Yeah, that's a great question, Robert. And sustainability for us is not just changing light bulbs. And we show up in engagements as sustainability Sherpas, if you will. So really helping our clients go from base camp one to base camp two. With a retailer, it's about helping them embed sustainability into the culture of their organization. Identifying the core values of the individuals within that organization, as well as representing the values of the ownership. What we find in retailers, successful retailers in that independently owned market, is really that culture of helping, that culture of education, a culture of just holding space for others to be great.
Yep.
Is what we're seeing as successful. So yeah, it's great that they're buying products, but just really seeing that transformation and just having that compassion as an employee, being this really ambassador to all these great products that are on so many of the shelves of the retailers out there.
Yeah.
And for us, sustainability is that's taking care of the community. That's also taking care of the bottom line. That's also taking care of the environment, because there's so many awesome products out there that are doing awesome things. Promoting non-GMO, promoting local, promoting organic. So really, at the core of success with retailers, independent retailers, we're seeing sustainability and culture go hand in hand, and it's that culture of sustainability, and that's culture of taking into consideration all stakeholders in those decisions at all levels of the organization.
Yeah. Well, I love the name, conscious. I love the conscious word, right? I mean, it's intentional. And one of the things you mentioned, which I just want to kind of circle back around to, is polling the staff, right? Polling the owners, understanding what the staff really cares about. And we're actually
Mm-hmm.
doing this right now at MegaFood because we get asked to invest a lot of money and time and effort into all kinds of stuff. And so, our mission is all about, improving lives by staying true to the intention of food. And that intention of food needs to be defined so that we can narrow our scope, right, and be more focused, right? So when you talked about individual staff and owners and really kind of polling them to see what the core value is and what the commitment to sustainability really is, I'm pretty certain these retailers are attracting staff that's attracted to their energy and their core values already. Talk a little bit about that the importance of making sure the staff and the ownership of a retailer are on the same page on this stuff. That's got to be important, and I would bet there are retailers that are missing that.
Oh, absolutely. And you've been in this industry for quite some time as well, and I've been playing around in it for the last 15 years, and just seen such a transition from the first, second generation natural food retailers that are now passing that on to their kids,
Right.
and or selling to a younger demographic. And just those core values, they might have been implied core values within just kind of the day-to-day operations, but they're not explicit. And retail does have some turnover as people go through different phases of their life, but just really being able to identify those core values, and as you guys are doing there at Mega Foods, surveying your staff to see what they feel the core values is. And it isn't necessarily top down, it isn't necessarily bottom up. It's just kind of finding where that alignment is.
Right.
For Conscious Brands, we're very, very mindful of culture, and we hire based on culture. So very clear on integrating someone into our organization, and if there isn't a fit, we don't bring them in. But if we've made a mistake, we're very quick to fire, just based on culture, because it is it's an energy that you feel, not to get too esoteric about it, but we've all been into restaurants or stores or just places that just feel good to be in. And that's a really healthy culture. And when you're not being bombarded with sales staff, that it's not authentic, and I think that's one of the keys there. And actually defining what authentic means for your organization, not just saying, oh, we're authentic, we're transparent, we're, whatever the other buzzwords are of values these days, but really expanding and making that definition your own, and having that definition represent the voices of everyone in the organization.
Well, you really keyed in on it. I think, if you don't have your staff bought in, and I think natural retailers have an advantage because they wear their passion on their sleeve. So they've got that energy out there and they're attracting the same energy, but it's got to be very intentional that this is what we all agree on. And Mom's comes to mind. It's a major retailer on the East Coast that goes really deep on sustainability, really, really deep, and they attract that. And then there are other retailers that, are really more about B Corp, or they're really more about, local and community. And so being very cognizant and aware and then specific about what that is probably very, very important for that retailer to make sure the message gets across to the customer, right?
Absolutely. And you can think of it as the analogy of a candle. So the owner or that group of senior management at a retailer, if they are all bought in, let's maybe say it's 5 candles that are shining. But if everyone in that organization is bought in and gets the values, can recite those values, that's 20, 50, 100 candles that are burning bright. And it's just a whole different energy.
Totally
literally and metaphorically, yeah.
Yeah, the analogy I always use is a spray hose. And so even though the hose might be only spraying just a few degrees apart at the bottom, when it comes out, it has less effect, right? It's good for wetting something, but not knocking anything over. But if you've got perfect alignment and it comes out perfectly straight, now you can knock stuff over, right? I mean, it's got more effect and impact. So that's very cool. The other thing you mentioned, which I thought was really cool, is and we talk a lot about this on Combat Mass Slippage, and the real advantage that a natural retailer has is building community. So if a natural retailer focuses on building community, that's something that Target can't do, or Walgreens, or other competitors in their space might not be doing very well. How can they use the concept of sustainability or consciousness, even consciousness around their brand and their store? How can they use that specifically to build community?
Yeah, again, it's asking those deeper questions. So we're always in sensing mode, and we build capacity with our clients to also be in sensing mode and to listen. And the community, your customers, your staff, they're going to tell you what they want if you ask the right questions.
Right.
So I really think in meeting the needs of the community, meeting needs of the staff, and even the local suppliers that you have, is just really around listening. And it's an opportunity, as you said, that the larger guys, they just don't have, because it is so automated. And there's a certain protocol. With the independent retailers, you get to listen. And people share. People love sharing.
Right.
And if you are asking the right questions, you could start identifying what those needs are within the community or within your supply chain.
Yeah, you make a great point. You're not just sticking to what it is you do every day and day in and day out, but also understanding what the community is looking for and trying to triangulate that a little bit. One of the things we do here at Mega Food is local community gardens, and we're really passionate about it. We have a culture club, and we go put the gardens in, but we're horrible about telling people about it. I mean, we're not that great about it because, and I see that with natural retailers. They've got a commitment to their community or sustainability or to some real, non-GMO. I've seen retailers that are really committed to the non-GMO movement or organic, those kinds of things, but they don't do a really good job of talking about it. When you help your clients, do you guys get to a point where you make recommendations on the best way to share this with their community, their commitment? Can you talk a little bit about how a retailer might think about better sharing their values and tactically making sure the community gets who they are and what they're trying to do?
Yeah, and just before I do that, Robert, one thing that that you said just really rang true for me is, these people, they're going to buy these products and they have a choice to buy them at Walgreens or Costco or wherever, and they're choosing your retail shop, your independent retail shop. So they're choosing that intentionally, and probably because it's more of an energy that they feel aligned with. Mm-hmm. So how we share that message after we come up with a common definition for an organization and have surveyed the staff and some of the stakeholder groups and just really got clear on what that common definition of sustainability is. What we do is now everyone's empowered to tell stories around what sustainability is and how sustainability shows up in their everyday life.
Yeah.
Whether that is at work or whether that's at home. And then that nicely transitions to the clients or into the customers who should be treated like clients.
Totally.
Yeah. And, what are the stories happening in the community? A lot of retailers have newsletters and they talk about all the great things that they're doing as an organization and profiling brands. But what about profiling your customers, profiling the community? And you need a little bit of your voice in there, but just that storytelling. And I think storytelling is such a lost art. And I find myself even, sharing stories with my kids at night, and I just, lie there telling them stories and think about how this used to be the way. We didn't have computers, and even before radio, won't go too far back, but just that idea of telling a story and sharing information, I think it comes from a different place. It shifts us. You talk about consciousness. It shifts us from the head down to the heart, and that that's a journey, a 16-inch journey that is infinite.
Yeah, Rob, you're nailing it, man. I think that when you talked about having a common definition for the store, the right words, and brands spend a lot of time on this, right? Brands in particular spend a lot of time and money on the right words because we get one shot in an ad or one shot, on a bottle to make our point. Retailers could probably learn from that, right? I mean, retailers, if you really took the time to define your culture and define what sustainability means and define what your core values are as a retailer, and then put them in the right words, and then create the stories around that and train your staff on that, now you're all speaking with one voice, right? To me, that's the baseline level. And then what you talked about second level is now profile your customers and give them the right story. You might have several stories, but that's awesome. That's beautiful advice. Very cool.
Yeah, thanks. And then, and that ties into one of our guiding principles of, how you do anything is how you do everything. Right. So if you're telling that common definition, that common story, what's the power of that? And going fast alone as a retailer. And this is what I love about you guys, Robert. You're not going fast alone. You're engaging your community to go further together and helping them to target, and share those stories about what Mega Foods does.
Right.
And it's not just helping your brand, but it's helping the industry. And I think it's a very selfless act. So I'd love to acknowledge you for that.
No, I appreciate that. So Rob, I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay. You've got one chance to talk to all the retailers out there and give them 3 pieces of advice around culture and sustainability, like 3 really tactical things they can do to really embrace the concept of culture, sustainability, what you believe in, takes a conscious retailer to another level. What are those 3 kind of tactical things you would advise a retailer to do?
Wow, that is putting me on the spot. It's good. We'll hopefully not make it too long of an elevator ride.
Not at all.
So I think the first thing we talked about is just really engaging your staff, engaging your customers, engaging your supply chain, and then also listening. So that sensing and listening piece I think is so crucial.
Yeah.
That could be 1 or 2. Coming up with a common definition of sustainability, I think is so huge. And that's, again, could be for your culture, it's for your values. Because sustainability at the end of the day, Robert, is is nothing more than just good business.
Right.
So we call ourselves sustainability Sherpas, but really we just help good businesses become better.
Right.
And yeah, so I think it's listening, sensing, and then also coming up with common definitions. And it can be that easy. Obviously there's some sub steps underneath that, but I think those are the three takeaways that I would share with any retailer.
Perfect.
And yeah.
I think the only thing I would add to that, and then tell everybody.
Tell everybody.
Spread the word.
And then storytelling. Yeah.
I think that some retailers just take it for granted how good they are and what they're doing in their community, and a lot of people that might be shopping their stores just don't know. They don't really know. But I love the whole concept of having a common definition that everybody can just really focus on. It's just awesome. So thanks so much for your time today, Rob. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks, Robert, and all the best.
How can people get in touch with Conscious Brands?
They can follow us on the traditional media sources, social media sources, or just www.consciousbrands.com.
Perfect.